Hi guys, I've teamed up with Kerrygold to bring you a brilliant back to basics series filled with what I consider to be those essential home cooking recipes. From some buttery sweet treats, to epic bakes, and some serious comfort food. I've got you covered. Let's get cooking. Choux pastry is an absolute classic recipe, and if you can master it, you can make a whole host of different things like profiteroles, eclairs, or even some gougères, those savory, cheesy buns. I'm gonna make some dark chocolate and hazelnut eclairs, and the pastry starts off in a pan. I have some Kerrygold butter going in here, and normally with a pastry, what you wanna do is keep that butter nice and cold, but this is a completely different type of pastry. So we're gonna get the heat on here, and you wanna bring this to melt the butter and also to bring it to a simmering point. This is simmering away really nicely right now, so it's time to add in the flour. So dump it straight in, and we're gonna mix that through very quickly. What essentially you're looking for is a nice dough to form. And you'll notice it kind of looks like it's not gonna come together, but stick with it. This is where you have to use your wooden spoon and just keep mixing. So at this point, take it off the heat. Turn off the heat. We're gonna mix it through just a little bit longer just to cool it down ever so slightly. And the key here is to add your egg slowly. So I've whisked up 3 eggs, and I've whisked them up until they're nicely combined. And the trick is to just drizzle this in ever so slightly until you have a nice glossy mixture. Now when you do this, it will look like scrambled eggs, but you must keep the faith. This is looking perfect, exactly what you're after, really smooth and glossy, and it's just about falling off the spoon. So it's time to get this straight into a piping bag. I have one with a nice round nozzle. You could, if you don't have one of these, use a resealable plastic bag and just cut off the top. It'll work exactly the same. But if you have one of these, all the better. So the trick with these is to fold down the plastic, shove it up on your hand like this. Place that mixture straight into the bag, and using your hand, just scoop it straight in. Squeeze all that mixture right down and then twist it using your hand. And if there's a little bit out there, you can just nozzle that over there. I have a tin that is lined with some parchment paper, and a good little tip to make sure that parchment paper doesn't slide all over the place is just dot some of that mixture, just like you would do if you're making like a pavlova base or a meringue. Just use that to stick down your parchment paper, and then you'll be able to have a beautiful piece of parchment paper that doesn't slip all over the place. We're looking for about 6 eclairs here. So I would say maybe 3 inches of an eclair, and just pipe it down. And when you lift up, make sure to kind of pull back so that you get a nice end to your eclairs. Do leave a good generous amount of space here, because they do have a tendency to spread and puff up. And once they do that, you are left with the most beautiful eclair bun. If you want to make sure that you get a nice even finish on your eclair buns, just take a little bit of cold water, dab it on your finger, and just press down ever so gently on those little peaks. That will ensure you get that wonderful, consistent eclair finish. Okay, these are looking absolutely fantastic. They are now going to bake in the oven at 190 degrees Celsius, that's 375 degrees Fahrenheit. They're going to cook for about 25 minutes, but keep an eye on them. What you're looking for to happen is that they will puff up and become nice and golden. As soon as those choux buns come out of the oven, I've just transferred them to a wire rack, used a nice sharp knife and pierced the underside. This allows all the steam to escape and will make sure that your buns stay nice and plump. So my choux buns are ready to go, and they can be filled at this point with lots of different flavors. I'm going chocolate hazelnut, so I'm gonna start off with my glaze. I have some melted dark chocolate, which I've just been simmering over a bowl here. So I'm just gonna pour in some cream and just whisk this through. Once you have a smooth finish on this, it's time to go in there with some Kerrygold butter. Now, the reason you do this is because you're gonna get this really glossy, spreadable chocolate glaze, and it's gonna be so delicious over the top of these buns. So just start off with 1 or 2 pieces, and you're gonna melt these through with that chocolate and cream. Once you have that smooth, glossy mixture, I'm gonna leave this aside and let it cool, and when it cools, it's gonna thicken up and become really nice and spreadable. To fill these buns, I have some crème pâtissier, which is essentially like a vanilla custard. If you don't have this, double cream will work well. Just stuff it into a piping bag like this and get piping. Now it's time to finish these off with that chocolate glaze. It's thickened up quite nicely, so just give it a last whisk so it stays nice and glossy. And now I'm gonna take a good heaped amount just to spread over the top of these eclairs. You can be really generous here. You really want that kind of luscious finish on the top of these buns. They look good enough to eat just as they are, but I'm going to finish them off with a sprinkle of just chopped hazelnuts over the top. And they are the ultimate treat. They are a really great bake to make, and if you can master that choux pastry, this is a superb, impressive dessert. Okay, they look seriously good. I am going to have to dive in and try some. Seriously chocolatey, beautiful and light choux pastry buns, and that vanilla custard in the center is just so good. If you want the recipe for these delicious eclairs, you can check it out in the box below over on my website. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for lots more delicious baking recipes, and I will see you soon. Bye.